The Dershow.
The 65 Project went after me and filed a bar complaint against me in Massachusetts, my home state, where I am a member of the bar. And what they did it based on was the following paragraph, one paragraph that I wrote in a case in Arizona where there was a challenge to voting machines based on the claim that the voting machines were not analyzed by objective, neutral experts that precluded the possibility of any problems. But this was not an attempt to undo any election. It was an attempt to make elections fair in the future. Let me read you the one paragraph that I wrote, and everybody acknowledges this. The Bar Association acknowledges it. The court acknowledges it. This is the only paragraph I wrote. I was involved in the case as an of-counsel consultant only on this issue. And here are my exact words, for which the 65 Project has sought my discipline and possible disbarment in the state of Massachusetts. I'm so proud of what I wrote. I would write it again, and it's right, and it's correct, and it will be proved correct. Here's what I wrote. It is important to note that this complaint is not an attempt to undo the past. Most specifically, it is not about undoing the 2020 presidential election. It is only about the future, about upcoming elections that will employ voting machines designed and run by private companies performing a crucial governmental function that refuse to disclose their software and system components and subject them to neutral expert evaluation. It raises the profound constitutional issue: can government avoid its obligation of democratic transparency by hiding behind private company privileges? I can't imagine a more important constitutional issue, and I'm proud to have written that paragraph. And yet, because of that paragraph and that paragraph alone, the 65 Project filed a bar complaint against me in Massachusetts. A similar bar complaint was filed in Arizona and was dismissed on the ground that, no, there's nothing wrong with doing that, but there's still a complaint against me in Massachusetts. Now, I think I'm going to win the case. I don't think there's anything wrong with this paragraph that I wrote. I'm proud that I wrote it. But it's cost me tens and tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees to fight this, because I fight back. I don't ever accept injustice if it's directed at me. It probably would have been easier for just, me to submit some kind of statement or whatever and acknowledge that I was wrong. But I'm not wrong. I'm 100% right. And I was 100% right when I was part of the team that challenged the 2000 election in Bush versus Gore. I represented the voters of Palm Beach County, and I went to federal district court in Miami and argued that case. Would the 65 Project have come after? And we lost. We lost in the Supreme Court. You know that. Bush was elected president or made president by the Supreme Court. So I lost. I don't lose that many, but I lost this one. Would the 65 Project have come after me for that? Of course not, because I was fighting for a Democrat back then. Would they come after me because I defended and helped? I was part of an advisory team to President Clinton for his impeachment? Of course not. This is selective McCarthyite injustice. This is an attempt by a radical McCarthyite group of anti-Trump lawyers to prevent him from challenging an election. What would they have people do instead? Go to the street? Engage in violence? That's what the courts are for. The courts are designed to prevent violence, to give people who have a grievance against government an option to go to court. First Amendment not only protects freedom of speech, but to write to petition your government for grievances. And that's what we did in Bush versus Gore. That's what was done by lawyers in elections in the 19th century and in the 20th century and in the 21st century. It's as American as apple pie to go to court to challenge the results of elections. The 65 Project is doing exactly what the McCarthyites did when I was a young man in high school and college and law school. going after lawyers who were defending people they didn't like, people who they thought was subverting democracy. Well, let me throw a challenge back at the 65 Project. You're not deterring me.